Let's talk Formula One. The world's highest class, most reputable, single-seater motor racing competition.
Beginning in the 1950s, the sport sees 10 teams, 20 drivers, and a plethora of crew annually race in the most prestigious of countries, cities, and racing tracks.
But we're in the middle of a sustainability crisis, and the upsurge of this has put a spotlight on the automotive and motorsport industry as a collective, but in particular, Formula One. F1 strives itself of being innovative and relevant, being the heart of development of technologies in the automotive industry.
In 2019, Formula One officially released a campaign and sustainability strategy of becoming carbon neutral by 2030. But it was 2014 that saw the most controversial change.
Formula One officially switched to the V6 hybrid power units, giving the sport a much cleaner and greener image. But these new generation of engines were attacked by fans and people within the industry. It was a huge change.
Brilliant racing. And look at that, Massa has resisted his teammates. And here we go, lap one of that.
As previously mentioned, the V6s were heavily disliked, with the likes of four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel and ex-Formula One boss Bernie Ecclestone making various headlines on their dislike. And fans that I spoke to online also seemed to mirror this response.
Are we losing the essence of Formula One? Is it becoming too tech-based, too innovative, too sustainable? How do you keep fans entertained whilst moving away from what brought them to the sport? And that's exactly what I wanted to find out.
I began to research what role the media can play in promoting sustainability content, as what happens on the track isn't the only way to keep fans engaged.
F1 is at the peak of its digital media and social media era.
With the new Netflix series Drive to Survive being crucial in inviting a newer generation of fans to the sport.
So what marketing strategies work, and how can one implement this with sustainability content? And who better to talk to than Aston Martin F1 Chief Marketing Officer, Rob Bloom.
To understand successful marketing strategies in Formula One, Rob spoke about the importance of rebranding the new Aston Martin Formula One team.
And so I came in with a strategy which the opening page had the first modern Formula One team. And that was quite a bold statement for a heritage luxury brand like Aston Martin. And I think if I'd have just brought Aston Martin as a road car company into Formula One, it would have felt like a 1990s team. It would have felt that it was all about the VIPs and the high net worth individuals and the champagne swinging above the garage. But there's 800 million Formula One fans out there that this brand has to be accessible and relatable too. So that's where the inclusive arm of the phrase comes from. So an inclusive, exclusive brand. And 2 years in, we've gone from 10th to 5th on social followership.
But sustainability content isn't exciting. So how do you make that exciting?
I think fans want to see the DNA of the sport somewhat protected. The sound of the cars is important. We know that when it went down to the V6s. Seb Vettel picking up litter after the British Grand Prix was the biggest post of that entire British Grand Prix weekend on social media. That was the same weekend that Lewis Hamilton won his home race, in quite a thrilling race as well. So, it can gain traction, but it needs to have cut through. It needs to have a bit of a wow factor. It needs to really feel authentic. And Seb Vettel standing there with a bin bag and a litter picker in the grandstands at Silverstone is as honest or as authentic as you can get. So I think the success of storytelling around it needs to show authenticity, substance, true goals, and just show that the teams are taking it seriously, not just greenwashing. That's using the platform for good.
So what I found when talking to Rob is that understanding the fans and creating a loyal fan base is key. This then makes it easier for the fans to accept the changes of the sport.
So I've used a line before that the best strategy in fan engagement is you want the sport to show you a little bit of love back. So you love the sport and the sport loves you back. Sport loving back is about understanding what's important to people and making sure that we act upon that. And I just think that fans, if they get it, and they say that's now a broad subject matter, including right up to things like the sustainability story. If they get that a team stands for the right things, that's trying to do the right things authentically, and there is that here, the team genuinely want to connect with fans. Without fans, there is no sport.
And it was really great to get another perspective on this. So I spoke to motorsport creative consultant Nirupam Singh.
And it all starts from understanding the fan. A lot of people are interested in many different aspects of it, and they come into the sport liking a different aspect of it. Some will like engineering, some will like the drivers, some will like the travel logistics behind it. Some people will like the marketing behind it, the content behind it. We go back to like having that connection with fans. Not a lot is being done with like understanding the fan properly, and without that first step, we're not going to get anywhere to having like a better engagement about the sustainability topic if we're not understanding who we're talking to.
So with my media and fan conversations out of the way, I thought it would only be fitting to talk to the people behind the innovativity. I spoke to student placement Aston Martin F1 aerodynamicist Scarlett. So what is an engineer's perspective on the constant development and race to sustainability within F1?
So with what Formula One is doing by, I think it's 2026, having 100% sustainable fuels, I think that's fantastic because you've still got an engine. It's not electric, you've got an engine. So I think that's brilliant because you can really keep that kind of core petrolhead DNA of like a nice, however many cylinders you want in that engine. And I think having hybrid technology is good because, like I said, I think that using motorsport as a proving ground for road car technology that's been around for decades. That's what happens. And I think that's really useful. So if fans took an interest in it, then it's really going to spike interest in having that in road cars as well, which is just going to be beneficial for everyone, really. What's still at the core is racing, and that's the whole point, really.
To get a better perspective on this, I spoke to my university's racing team.
To discuss the importance of engineering, because without the engineers, there will be no race car. Speaking to my team, they stated it is a really exciting era to be a part of in the automotive industry. Sustainability has now become an integral part of a mechanical engineer's job and a rewarding one of that, as their work means that we can still enjoy the sport we all know and love while saving the planet.
Talking to the fans and industry professionals, I found that the sport is much bigger than just the sound and the speed.
It's about the fans, the atmosphere, your first race, emotions. It's more than just the racing.
Formula One is evolving, and the race to sustainability is on.